Okay, this is a basic tutorial for how to use Excel to make graphs and to obtain the slope of the lines from the graph and display them properly. So you probably have data already in an Excel file. What you want to do is highlight just the numbers. Notice I'm not highlighting the headings. You are going to add those later. And I found that if you include the headings when you're making the graph, it just tends to get messy and the computer doesn't know how to process that. If you're better at Excel than I am, then go right ahead. So you highlight the boxes you want, and then you're going to go to Insert, and the graph you want is a scatter graph. Do not insert a line graph. If you insert a line graph, your calculations for the slope will be wrong, promise. So don't do that. You want to insert a scatter graph. That's going to put the dots on the graph, and then you can put your own trend line in. Don't do a line graph. So you go to Insert Scatter. You always want to choose the upper left. And there's your graph. So there's your graph. And what you're going to do then is you want to go to Layout. And you can put in the chart title up here. You can overlay. I like it above the chart. So this is the effect of time on pressure. I know a lot of you are taught to include units in the title. Biologists generally don't. In general, we write it as a sentence, not pressure versus time. That's a very physics thing. In general, biology teachers, biologists are very wordy and descriptive, so we want to know what we're studying. So in this case, this chart shows the effect of time on pressure. That's going to be the chart title. Enter, and there it appears, and you can highlight it and play with all kinds of fonts and stuff in the Home tab. But we'll move on. Again, back to Layout. Axis titles. The vertical axis is, you want to do, in general, just a rotated title. Okay, that'll look good. And we'll do pressure. This is where you definitely want your units, kilopascals. Enter. And I can make that bigger. I would probably make that bigger. And then your horizontal axis is time in seconds. Right. So now you've got everything labeled. You can get rid of this Series 1 thing. And you're going to right-click on any one of the dots. And you'll get this pop-up. You want to add a trend line. You get a lot of questions. You always want your trend line to be linear in this class. And what you're going to do is you're going to display the equation on the chart. So make sure you display your equation on the chart. Close it, and there's your equation. Now, I can't really see it there, so I want to move it to a point where I can see it. Remember that all equations for lines are y equals mx plus b. So in this case, I would obtain the slope from here, and that would be 1.714. That's my m. Now, what would happen if I got a linear slope? Let's do 15. Let's do an exact linear slope, because you may see that this year. Okay, so that's a linear slope. Now notice, here's the formula for the slope. It's y equals 15. There is no mx. This 15 is the y-intercept, right? That's where it hits the y-axis. Y is the y-intercept by definition. Basic algebra. So there is no slope. In this case, the slope would be 0 because it's a straight horizontal line. Okay? So that's your basic tutorial on how to use Excel to make a graph that shows the trend line.